What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to World of Thrills for another walkthrough video. In this video, I'll be giving you a full-length video tour of Spot Kissimmee, the second of the two Fun Spot parks located in Florida. The two rides you see in front of you are the park's signature attraction, as Mineblower on the left, and in the center of the screen is the park's skycoaster. We will get to those rides as well as all the others throughout this video. But first things first, we gotta discuss with how you get to this park, because this park is in a bit of an odd location. Now, of course, your route is going to vary depending on which way you are coming from, but this route that I'm going to show you in this video is the general route you'll take to this park. From here, you can be looking for exit 65B, and you're going to want to get onto Osceola Parkway East towards Kissimmee. Once you've merged onto to Osceola Parkway East, you're going to just drive another 1.5 miles to the next light, and you turn right onto International Drive. You'll be on International Drive for about a mile before you come to another light, where you turn left onto West Bronson Memorial Highway. Now, once you turn on Bronson Memorial Highway, it's going to be about another 0.5 mile before you turn again. This time, you're turning onto Florida Plaza Boulevard, and that'll be the last road you'll be traveling on before you get to Spot Kissimmee. Once you turn onto Florida Plaza Boulevard, it's going to be about another 800 feet before you'll start seeing the rides that we saw in the beginning. That'll be Mineblower and the Skycoaster right there on your right-hand side. You'll drive a little bit further up, and then you'll see the entrance for the parking lot. You'll turn right, and then that's how you'll end up right back in this spot. So now we are in the parking lot for Spot Kissimmee. This park's setup is a little bit odd. There isn't really a big grand entrance like you see at the one at the Orlando location. However, this area you see right now in front of us is the general main entrance to the park. You can either go through the arcade, which I will go through and show you for this video, or there is a separate entrance that you saw on the right-hand side past the arcade. You can use that to get in as well. The parking setup here is a little bit odd. It does have Spot Kissimmee does have a bit of a elongated parking lot. It kind of stretches past Mineblower, and there are some spots outlined on the street as well. So it's a little bit of an odd setup, but you know it works for them. Here's what the arcade looks like. You just saw the bathrooms back there, and just some games spread out, kind of like your typical arcade. Something that all three of the Fun Spot parks shares, that they all have a decent sized arcade, and this one is no exception. You do have a little bit of a concession stand inside here as well. You can get some drinks, popcorn, that stuff. And then you'll just proceed forward through these doors, and you'll finally be in Spot Kissimmee. This park sits on 10 acres of land, so it's not a super huge park, but there is a whole lot of stuff packed within it. If you want to experience any attractions, though, you'll want to come over to this spot where you'll get your ride tickets. Just like the other two parks, this park is free to enter, but if you want to experience any of the attractions, you'll need to either purchase ride tickets, individual ride tickets, or you can get an all-day unlimited wristband, which at both the Orlando and Kissimmee parks will run you about usually $60 to $70. But once you do have the wristband, it is unlimited access to all the attractions. So if you're willing to spend the money, that wristband is recommended. And it's just set up like your kind of typical carnival. You have rides scattered throughout. There's Head Rush and inverting pendulum style ride. Not a huge park, like I said, but there is a whole lot packed in here. And packed in it is 4 roller coasters. The first of which is Sea Serpent, you see on the left. That is the park's smallest roller coaster, so it's more intended for kids. And then the biggest of the roller coasters is the one we saw in the beginning. This is Mineblower. This opened in 2017. Mineblower was a part of a huge expansion that went from about 2007 to 2017, where they really tried to build this park up, and Mineblower was basically kind of like the cherry on top. This ride has had a bit of an interesting history, and it's built up kind of reputation for not being all that smooth. And so eventually they had Rocky Mountain Construction come in, give it the two-way track to try and help smoothen out some of the spots. And well, let's just say the retracking they did, it has made it smoother. But there is one giant flaw that we will hear in just a second. I'm sure you guys heard it in the beginning of this video when it went down the first drop. But you'll hear it much clearer in this spot right here. This ride is very intense. I personally enjoy it. There are a lot of people who have mixed emotions. They either really love it or they really hate it. But the one reason I hate it is because of this right here. Yeah, that sound is not pleasant. And when you're standing right next to it, like I was, it will kind of hurt your ears. It is very ear piercing, and you can hear that sound from just about anywhere in the park. But it is the signature roller coaster here at Fun Spot Kissimmee, so I do recommend at least checking it out once. And the entrance for the attraction is up those stairs on the left-hand side. And you just have some more concession stands scattered throughout. There's a big Mineblower sign on the left-hand side. That is the ride station as well. Not really much else on this side. You have some more games down here. This was filmed pretty early on in the day, so that's why a whole lot of the stuff wasn't quite open yet. I think the park was only open for like an hour at the time of this recording. So yeah, that's why a lot of stuff is not quite open yet. This park is definitely more lively at night. We will get into that later on. One of the other things that this park is known about, and the other parks share, is the go-kart tracks. And you see the go-kart tracks right in front of us. On the left is another little entry and exit point that you can use. So if you were to park way further down on the parking lot, than where we were, you can get in through that way as well. And, a burger stand, there's a Cinnabon. There is an alternate way to get spot to get ride tickets, and that's this building right here. So I guess if you did come in from the alternate way, you could use that spot to get your ride tickets instead of going all the way up to the one at the very front. So that's kind of nice. Dippin' Dots, a few other stands, there's funnel cake. The entrance for the go-karts is coming up on the left. There's the entrance for the go-karts. Yeah, my little Himalaya style ride over here. And now I'm going to take you into a very quirky part of Fun Spot Kissimmee. And this is something that you can't really find at any of the other Fun Spot parks. This is Old Town. So Old Town was here way before Fun Spot Kissimmee was. However, in 2016, they formed a partnership. Every now and then they'll have special events that will go on here. I think they'll have car events and stuff, and it's kind of cool. And this basically provides like an old-timey shopping experience. And there's me in the window. Hello. There's a set of restrooms on the left-hand side there through that doorway. Vending machines. And yeah, the whole purpose of this area was basically just to create an old-timey shopping experience, or basically make it feel like you're in some kind of old town, like the name suggests. Here's a little intersection. You can go four ways. If you were to go all the way down to the right, it will take you to an area where you have some other thrill rides. They are unfortunately not part of Fun Spot Kissimmee officially. So, if you were to get the unlimited wristband, the wristband would not work for the attractions down there. I believe there's a slingshot down there. They have a few other thrill rides down there as well. Again, I think you would have to pay extra for those. So, if they would interest you, they are down there, but they are not officially part of Fun Spot Kissimmee. However, there is an area that is part of Fun Spot Kissimmee that is hidden way down at the far end of this pathway we're walking on now, and I'm taking you there right now. And you would have no idea it's here because it's pretty far down there, and there's really not anything really tall back here. So it would be pretty hard to see. You will have to cross a road first, so make sure you look both ways. It's all clear, we can go. When this park is busier and it has a lot more people around here, this intersection will become a lot more challenging to cross over because you will have cars going every which direction back and forth. So just be careful when crossing that road as always. And now that we're on the other side, you'll just have some more shops. There is a few restaurants down here as well. There's really not a whole lot in terms of like attractions. Again, this really is just a kind of like old-timey, town feel. Some shops placed throughout. There's some games. But this really is just an area where you're most likely just going to be walking through. So there's not really a whole lot to do here unless you aren't interested in the gift shops. You do have some areas where you can sit down, some benches with the umbrellas and stuff. So it is a nice area. I will give them that. It is a nice area. And definitely, again, a nice little quirk about Fun Spot Kissimmee. And now that we have finally made it to the end of this pathway, we can get into what I call the hidden, pretty much a lost island of Fun Spot Kissimmee. This area down here consisted of pretty much 5 rides. There's only 5 rides back here. 4 family rides. You have a little mini carousel. There's a tilt-a-whirl, a little like frog hopper. And then also back here is one of the 4 roller coasters. There's Hurricane in the back there. It's like an E&F Miler kind of roller coaster. It pretty much feels like they just built the thing today and they just pulled it out of a box and built it up like that day. It's very janky, pretty intense, and very fun in an odd way. If you've done this ride or similar rides, then you'll know what I'm talking about. These rides are pretty nuts. The turns on them are very tight. Feels like you can come right off the track. Thankfully, you don't. But it's pretty fun. And the entrance for that is just either up those stairs or up the ramp. And there's a tilt-a-whirl. And that's basically all that's back here. Again, there isn't there's not really anything that's tall back here. So it is kind of a hard spot to find if you don't know it's here. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a lot of first-timers to this park that have missed this area completely just because they didn't know it was back here. So hopefully me showing you it in this video will at least help you know that there is indeed a spot back here. And again, for those who are counting roller coaster credits, there is a roller coaster back here, so make sure you don't miss it. And now we're going to start heading back to the main part of Fun Spot Kissimmee. I was debating on whether I want to take you all the way back there fully or just cut to the main part. I figured you guys don't want to walk through the entire length of Old Town again, so through the power of editing, I will just fast forward to the main part of Fun Spot Kissimmee. And in 3, 2, and 1, you're now back in Fun Spot. So yeah, a neat little quirk about Fun Spot Kissimmee. And now that we're back into the main part, let's continue the walkthrough. So if you go back that way, it will take you back towards Mineblower. So we're going to go this way, and we'll talk about our last few attractions. The first of which is going to be Hot Seat, which is a small little S&S Scream and Swing, which if you've done those rides before, you know that they're pretty fun. They have a fairly short ride cycle a lot of the time, but they're pretty fun rides. And now, if there is one attraction in this park that we cannot skip talking about, it's pretty much the icon of Fun Spot Kissimmee. This is the world's tallest sky coaster. If you've done these rides before, then you know how they are. You get basically suited up in kind of like a hang glider, skydiving kind of suit. You brought out to a platform, and then you get hooked up into the ride's cables. It brings you up to the top, and then when you get to the top, they'll say 3, 2, 1, fly, and then you'll pull a cord, and you'll basically just start swinging back and forth. Basically simulating, skydiving, hang gliding kind of, and like both in one ride. This one, again, is the world's tallest sky coaster. This was one of the original rides. This was built in 2004, and it was one of the only rides in this park for quite some time. The only other ride in this park was a ride called G-Force dragsters was a pair of SNS drop towers, and that has been removed, but the sky tower still remains. This area is where you'll get all suited up for your flight. There's the hang glider suits, and then you'll get brought out to that platform over there. The only downside of this ride is that it is very pricey, much like the Sky Coaster over at Fun Spot Orlando. These two rides will cost you $40 for one flight. If you're able to get your hands on a wristband or a Fun Spot season pass, you can reduce the cost down to $10, which is a little nicer than $40. But yeah, if you do not get that wristband or the season pass, it will be $40 for one flight. These dudes were trying to ride the Sky Coaster as well, and they wanted to be in the video, so there they go. But the Sky Coaster is a ride that I definitely recommend you check out if you come here. Again, it's the tallest Sky Coaster, 300 feet high, so it's the basically tallest ride in Florida. I think the only thing that's taller than is Falcon's Fury over at Busch Gardens, Tampa, but taller than Iron Gwazi, taller than Velocicoaster. So if you are willing to spend the money, I definitely recommend you check out the Sky Coaster. It is a must-do, in my opinion. You saw another little concession stand for Cotton Candy and stuff. And the last ride we'll be talking about is the park's fourth roller coaster. This is Galaxy Spin. It's a typical spinning wild mouse. If you've done like Raging Cajun at Six Flags America, or if you've done, I think Kennywood has a ride similar. They can spin pretty insane spin if you can get your car off balance. So pretty fun ride. And that's basically going to be it for Fun Spot Kissimmee. That was all the attractions. So again, it's not a very small park, and neither is Fun Spot Orlando, but again, these parks are meant to be all-day experiences. They are, however, nice when you come here during the day because you don't have as big of a crowd as you say places like Disney or Universal. But these places definitely are more geared for the nighttime experience, because the idea is that you would spend all day at one of the bigger parks, at Universal or Disney, and then you would come here to one of these places, either Kissimmee location or the Orlando one, as like a little bit of like last minute thrills, since these places are typically open till midnight, so they're open pretty late, and that allows you to do that. And it's pretty easy to do so because they're all within close proximity. Kissimmee, it's specifically is only about maybe 10 to 15 minutes away from Disney, and it's only about 30 minutes away from Universal and SeaWorld. So very easily accessible. But that's basically going to be it for Fun Spot Kissimmee. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please like and share this to anyone who would benefit from a video like this. I hope to see you out in this park soon. So thank you for watching, and take care.